I don't remember the exact moment I stopped believing in coincidence. Maybe it was year 7, when I realized the prison chapel smelled like burnt coffee and broken promises. Or maybe it was year 11 when I finally read the appeal denial and understood, really understood, that no one was coming to fix this. But I remember the day I got out. March 14th. A Tuesday. Cold enough that your breath came out in clouds, but not cold enough to snow. I stood outside Monroe Correctional with a check for $217, a plastic bag of belongings I didn't recognize anymore, and the kind of anger that doesn't burn hot. It settles. Calcifies. It becomes architecture. My name is Nathan Rourke, and for 14 years I was inmate 04729B. Before that, I was a freight logistics coordinator. I had a studio apartment in Capitol Hill. I bought coffee from the same cart every morning. Medium roast, no sugar, extra shot on Mondays. I had a girlfriend named Simone who laughed too loud at movies and always stole the blankets. I had a life. Then Owen Barrett decided his conviction rate mattered more than the truth, and all of that became past tense. Now, if stories like this hit different for you, if you've ever felt invisible to someone who changed your life, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want more of these stories, subscribe. 'Cause what happened next took 14 years of planning, 7 months of patience, and 1 moment of clarity I didn't see coming. Revenge is not always what it seems to feel like when you see it on movies. It started smaller, quieter. In year 3, my public defender, this exhausted woman named Kara who always had mustard stains on her blazer, told me she'd found something. A police report, filed the day after my arrest. It documented a witness who'd seen someone else leaving the storage facility where the stolen equipment turned up. Someone who matched a completely different description. The report had been logged, sent to the prosecutor's office, and then it just wasn't there anymore. Sometimes things get lost, Kara said, but her eyes told a different story. Her eyes said, someone made a choice. The prosecutor on my case had been Owen Barrett. Back then he was 31, hungry, and 3 years into the King County DA's office with a 90% conviction rate. He was the kind of lawyer who wore suspenders ironically and quoted Atticus Finch while destroying people's lives with procedural elegance. He never mentioned that report. Not once. The witness, a night security guard named Eugene Mabry, was never called. Never interviewed beyond that initial statement. By the time Kara tracked him down, he'd moved to Spokane and couldn't remember details clearly enough to matter. But I remembered sitting in that courtroom while Owen Barrett painted me as a man with opportunity, motive, and a history of financial desperation. He was good, confident. He made eye contact with the jury like he was sharing a secret with 12 close friends. When the guilty verdict came down, he shook the lead detective's hand. I don't think he even looked at me. You know what nobody tells you about prison? It's not the violence that breaks you. It's the irrelevance. The world keeps moving. Simone got married. I found out through a mutual friend's Facebook page during a library computer session in year 5. There was a photo. Her in a white dress, smiling at someone who wasn't me. The caption said something about finally finding the one. I stared at that screen until my 30 minutes ran out. My mom died in year 8. Lymphoma. I got a supervised phone call 2 days before the end. She could barely talk. Her voice was this thin, papery thing that didn't sound like her anymore. I'm sorry I can't be there, I said. It's okay, baby, she whispered. It's okay. But it wasn't okay. Nothing about it was okay. When I hung up, I sat in my cell and realized something. Time doesn't heal. It just distances you from who you used to be. And in that distance, I started planning. Not some elaborate heist movie revenge. Not some manifesto. Just curiosity at first. Who was Owen Barrett now? What had those 14 years bought him while they were stealing mine? I had access to the library computer for 30 minutes twice a week. I started searching. LinkedIn, Facebook, local news articles, court records. Turns out, quite a lot. By the time I got out, he'd left the DA's office and joined a corporate defense firm, Halston and Reed, the kind of place with art in the lobby that costs more than most people's cars. Marble floors. Original paintings on the walls. A receptionist who smiled like she was auditioning for a toothpaste commercial. He'd married a woman named Claire, a dermatologist with a kind face and expensive taste in athleisure. They had a son, Ethan, 13 years old, played lacrosse, had his mother's eyes and his father's cautious smile. Owen Barrett had become a man with a Lexus SUV, a craftsman-style house in Ballard worth probably $2 million, and a reputation for being unshakable in depositions. He had become untouchable, and I became a ghost. Listen, I need to say something here, because if you've made it this far, you're probably wondering where this is going. Maybe you think I'm the good guy. Maybe you think I'm justified. I don't know if I am. But I know this: when someone takes 14 years of your life and faces no consequences, you start thinking about balance. Not fairness. Not justice in the legal sense. Just balance. The kind that keeps you awake at night, turning over possibilities like stones in your hand, feeling their weight, wondering which one you'll throw. I didn't go to his house right away. First I got a job. Warehouse work in Soto, inventory tracking, night shifts. The kind of job where no one asks questions if you keep your head down and show up on time. The manager was this guy named Rick who had a limp and a collection of energy drinks on his desk. He looked at my application, saw the gap in employment, and just nodded. "Everyone's got a story," he said. "You good with computers?" "Yeah." "You show up drunk or high?" "No." "Then we're good. Start Monday." I rented a basement room in Beacon Hill from a guy who ran an unlicensed tattoo parlor upstairs. His name was Vincent. Big guy, covered in ink, gentle voice. The walls were thin enough that I could hear the buzz of the tattoo gun through the floor, but it was cheap and Vincent didn't care that I had a record. "Everyone deserves a second chance," he said when I explained my situation. "Just don't cause drama and we're cool." The room was maybe 12 by 15 feet. Single window that looked out at a concrete wall covered in faded graffiti. Mattress on the floor. Hot plate. Mini fridge that hummed too loud at 3 a.m. Was mine. After 14 years of sharing space with men who snored and talked in their sleep and sometimes screamed from nightmares, having my own room felt like luxury. I started watching. Not in a creepy stalker way, or maybe it was, I don't know anymore. But I learned Owen's routines. He left for work at 7:40 every morning. Stopped at a Starbucks on Leary, always ordered the same thing, Grande Americano, extra shot. Sometimes he'd stand outside for a minute before getting in his car, just staring at his phone with this tired expression. His wife Claire ran the household like a logistics operation. Yoga at 9, groceries on Thursdays, wine with a friend named Denise every other Friday at a place called the Walrus and the Carpenter. She drove a white Tesla. Always used her turn signal. Always checked her blind spots. Ethan was harder to read. Quiet kid. Headphones always in. He walked to school most days, but sometimes Claire drove him. He had this way of slouching in the passenger seat like he was trying to disappear. Like he was carrying something heavy that no one else could see. I understood that. I understood it more than I wanted to. For 3 months, I just watched. Learned the patterns. The rhythms. I wasn't planning anything specific yet. I just needed to see them. To make them real. Because for 14 years Owen Barrett had been an abstraction. A name on legal paperwork. A memory of a man in a good suit who'd stolen my life with paperwork and selective blindness. Now he was just a guy who forgot to signal when he changed lanes and sometimes left his garage door open overnight and had a son who looked sad more often than not. Human. Vulnerable. Mortal. The first time I made contact, it was an accident. I was at a Fred Meyer in Greenwood, just buying groceries, bread and peanut butter and the kind of instant coffee that tastes like regret, and I saw him. 2 aisles over, holding a basket with steak and a bottle of wine. He was reading the label on the bottle, frowning slightly. My first instinct was to leave. My hands started shaking. Not fear exactly, just adrenaline. Recognition. The body remembering before the mind catches up. Fight or flight response kicking in even though there was no immediate danger. But I didn't leave. Instead, I walked past him. Close enough that he'd have to notice. Close enough that some unconscious part of his brain might flag me as familiar. He didn't. He was on his phone now, half smiling at something, and I was invisible. 14 years, and I was still invisible to him. I could have said something. Could have stopped and turned and said, "Hey Owen, remember me? Nathan Rourke. You buried evidence to put me away for 14 years. I lost my mother. My girlfriend. My entire life. Remember?" But that would have been the end of it. Confrontation means resolution. And I didn't want resolution. I wanted him to feel what I felt. That slow, creeping awareness that something is wrong and you can't name it. That sense of being watched. Of being remembered when you thought you were forgotten. Of being haunted by choices you made when you thought no one was keeping score. I started small. A letter. No return address. Just a single sentence on plain white paper. Some debts don't expire. I mailed it to his office. Used gloves. Walked 3 miles to a mailbox in a different neighborhood. Paid cash for the stamp at a corner store where the clerk didn't look up from his phone. A week later, another one. Different handwriting. I'm right-handed, but I taught myself to write with my left in prison. Lots of time for hobbies. Lots of time to think about what you'd do if you ever got the chance. 14 is a long time to remember. Then another. Eugene Mabry says hello. That one. I knew would land differently. Because Eugene Mabry wasn't just some random name. He was the loose thread. The report that vanished. And if Owen had buried it deliberately, if he remembered doing it, then seeing that name again would feel like the past cracking open underfoot. Like standing on ice you thought was solid, and hearing it start to splinter beneath you. I didn't sign them. Didn't make demands. Didn't ask for money or meetings or confessions. Just let them sit there in his mind, unanswered. Questions without solutions. Pressure without release. I knew it was working when I saw him check his rearview mirror 3 times on a drive home. I was 2 cars back. No reason for him to notice me. I'd bought a used Honda Civic, gray, forgettable. The kind of car that disappears in traffic. But he looked, and looked again. His head turned just slightly. Checking. Scanning. By the time he pulled into his driveway, his shoulders were tight. He sat in the car for a moment before getting out. Just sat there, hands on the steering wheel, staring at nothing. I drove past without slowing. That night, I sat in my basement room and ate ramen and felt something I hadn't felt in 14 years. Power. Not over him. Not yet. But over the narrative. For so long I'd been the defendant. The inmate. The man things happened to. I'd been a number on a prison roll call, a name on a legal document, a statistic in a prosecutor's win column. I'd been invisible. Irrelevant. Erased. Now I was the author. I was choosing what came next. And what came next was patience. Here's the thing about fear. It's not the monster under the bed. It's the idea of the monster. The not knowing. The waiting. The sound of footsteps in an empty hallway. The car that appears twice in your rearview mirror. The message with no name. I didn't need to hurt Owen Barrett. I just needed him to imagine that I might. So I kept going. I left a photocopy of the original police report, the one mentioning Eugene Mabry, on his windshield one morning. No note. Just the report. Tucked under the wiper blade like a parking ticket. I watched from across the street as he came out of his office building. Saw him pull it free. Unfold it. Go still. Completely still. Like someone had pressed pause on him. He looked around. Scanning the street. The parking lot. Looking for, what? Me? A camera? Proof that this wasn't random? He didn't find anything. But his hands shook when he got in his car. I made a reservation at the restaurant where he and Claire had their anniversary dinner. Same name. Barrett. Same time. 7:30 p.m. Then canceled it the day of. The hostess called to confirm the cancellation. I could hear the confusion in her voice when she asked, "Mr. Barrett?" I just wanted to make sure. "Yeah," I'd said, keeping my voice neutral. Something came up. "Oh, okay. Well, we hope to see you another time." "Maybe," I said. I sent a single text from a burner phone to his private cell, the one he used for clients, the number I'd found on a legal filing that was public record. "Did you think I forgot?" He changed his number 2 days later. I know because I tried calling it, and got a disconnected tone. I waited a week. Then I sent flowers to his office with a card that said, "Congratulations on your continued success." No signature. No explanation. Just enough to make him wonder. Just enough to make him lie awake at night trying to connect dots that didn't quite form a picture. The thing about psychological warfare, it's not about the big moves. It's about the accumulation. The drip. The constant low-level awareness that something is wrong. It was around month 6 when I saw it really take hold. Owen started looking tired. Not just end of a long day tired. The kind of tired that lives behind your eyes. That makes you forget things. That makes small tasks feel impossible. His routine got sloppier. Skipped the Starbucks some mornings, forgot to lock his car once. I watched him sit in his driveway for 10 minutes one evening, just staring at the steering wheel like he was trying to remember how he got there. Like he'd driven home on autopilot and now couldn't recall a single moment of the journey. Claire noticed too. I could tell by the way she touched his shoulder when they walked to the car. Gentle. Concerned. The touch of someone who's asking "Are you okay?" without using words because she's already asked too many times and gotten the same unconvincing answer. "I'm fine. Just work stress. Nothing to worry about." Ethan noticed. Started spending more time in his room. Stopped trying to talk to his father at dinner. I know because I could see them through the kitchen window sometimes. 3 people eating in silence, the weight of unspoken things filling the space between bites. And I felt, God, I don't know what I felt. Satisfaction? Guilt? Some sick combination of both? I told myself it was justice. That Owen Barrett had spent 14 years sleeping soundly while I rotted. And now it was his turn to lie awake wondering when the other shoe would drop. But late at night, alone in that basement room with the tattoo gun buzzing upstairs and the sound of rain on concrete outside my window, I think about Ethan, about Claire, about the collateral damage. And I'd think they didn't do this. He did. But they were paying for it anyway. Just like Simone paid when she waited 2 years before finally moving on. Just like my mom paid, dying without me there, asking the nurse if her son was coming. Just like everyone I'd ever cared about paid, in ways large and small, for something I didn't do. Because consequences don't stay contained. They spread. They metastasize. They find everyone connected to the source and they take a piece. That's the thing about revenge. It never stops where you want it to. The breaking point came on a Thursday in October. I didn't plan it. That's important. I need you to understand that I didn't plan this. I was sitting in my car outside a coffee shop in Fremont, just killing time before my shift, when Owen walked in. I hadn't been following him. It was pure chance. The universe deciding to flip a coin and see what happened. But I went in anyway. I ordered coffee. Black. No sugar. Sat 3 tables away. He was with another lawyer, some guy in a loud tie with a too loud laugh, the kind of person who makes everything a performance. Owen smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. He looked hollow. Like someone had scooped out everything behind the professional facade and left just the shell. I sipped my coffee and watched. The other lawyer kept talking. Owen nodded at the right moments, made appropriate sounds of agreement, but his mind was somewhere else. Somewhere darker. I could see it in the way his eyes didn't quite focus. In the way his hand trembled slightly when he lifted his cup. I waited until the other guy left. Watched him clap Owen on the shoulder, promised to circle back on Monday, and stride out like he owned the world. Then I stood up. Walked over. Sat down across from him. He looked up. Confused at first. Then recognition. Slow and sick. Like watching someone realize they'd been poisoned. "Nathan," he said. Quiet. Almost a whisper. "Owen." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The coffee shop was busy. People talking, laughing, typing on laptops. Normal people doing normal things. Living normal lives that didn't include 14 years in a cage. And we were just 2 men sitting in silence, connected by something none of them could see. Then he said, "I didn't know you were out." I smiled. Not kind. Not warm. Just acknowledgement. I'd been out for 7 months. His face went pale. Actually pale. Like blood draining from skin. 7. He trailed off. Did the math. Started connecting dots. "What do you want?" His voice shook. "Just a little. Just enough." "I don't want anything," I said. "I just wanted you to see me. To know that I'm here. That I remember." "I didn't." He stopped. Swallowed. Started again. "I was doing my job. You buried evidence." "I don't know what you're talking about." Eugene Mabry. His jaw tightened. There it was. The recognition. The confirmation that he knew exactly what he'd done and had spent 14 years hoping no one would notice. Hoping the file would stay buried. Hoping I'd disappear into the system and never come back. "I could go to the Bar Association," I said quietly. "I could go to the press. I could burn your whole life down, Owen. Your career. Your reputation. Everything you've built. Then why haven't you?" Good question. The honest answer? I didn't know. Maybe because burning it down would be too quick. Too clean. Too final. Maybe because making him live with it, making him wake up every day wondering if today was the day it all came crashing down, That felt more like justice than any single catastrophic event. I leaned back. Because I don't need to. You're already doing it to yourself. And it was true. I could see it in him. The paranoia. The exhaustion. The way his hands trembled slightly when he picked up his coffee cup. The way his eyes darted to the door every time someone walked in. He was destroying himself from the inside out. I stood up, left my coffee on the table. As I walked toward the door, I heard him say quietly, "I'm sorry." I stopped, didn't turn around. "Are you?" I asked. Silence. "Or are you just sorry you got caught?" I didn't wait for an answer. After that, I stopped. No more letters. No more flowers. No more shadows in his rearview mirror. I just let go. Not because I forgave him. I don't think I ever will. Forgiveness feels like something you give to people who've earned it, and Owen Barrett hadn't earned anything from me except my contempt. But I realized something. Revenge isn't about the other person. It's about you. What you're willing to become. What you're willing to carry. And I'd carried enough. I'd spent 14 years carrying anger like a stone in my chest, and then 7 more months carrying it like a weapon. And I was tired. So tired. Tired of being defined by what was done to me. Tired of letting Owen Barrett occupy space in my head rent-free. Tired of being the ghost in someone else's story instead of the protagonist in my own. I don't know what happened to Owen after that. I didn't keep watching. Didn't check his social media or drive past his house or send any more cryptic messages. I moved. Found a different apartment in the Central District. One with actual windows that got sunlight and a kitchen that had a real stove and enough space that I didn't feel like the walls were closing in. I got a different job. Started seeing a therapist, court-mandated at first, but I kept going even after the sessions weren't required anymore. Her name was Dr. Patel. She had gray streaks in her hair and a calm way of asking questions that made you think instead of react. "Do you feel like you got what you needed?" she asked me once. "I don't know," I said. "I feel like I proved something. That I hadn't been erased. That I still mattered. That what he did had consequences. And now I'm trying to figure out who I am when I'm not angry." She nodded. Wrote something in her notebook. "That's the harder work." She was right. Some days are good. I wake up and make coffee and go to work and come home and watch TV and it feels almost normal. I started talking to my coworkers. Went to a barbecue Vincent threw. Met a woman at a grocery store who smiled at me and I smiled back, and it didn't feel like a performance. Some days I wake up angry. At Owen. At the system. At myself for losing 14 years I'll never get back. At the universe for being so fundamentally unfair. But I'm not that ghost anymore. I'm not the shadow in someone's rearview mirror or the unsigned letter in their mailbox or the breathing presence they can't quite see but know is there. I'm just Nathan. Trying to build something that looks like a life. Trying to figure out what comes after revenge. When the anger finally burns down to embers and you're left standing in the ashes wondering what you're supposed to do with all this empty space. Last month, I ran into Kara, my old public defender. She was coming out of a courthouse in downtown Seattle, looking just as exhausted as I remembered but somehow more at peace. "Nathan," she said, surprised. "You're out." "I'm out." She smiled. Genuine. The kind of smile that reaches the eyes. "How are you doing?" "Better," I said. And meant it. We talked for a few minutes. She told me she'd left public defense work. Burned out. Couldn't keep fighting a system that felt designed to chew people up. Now she taught legal ethics at UW. Trying to make the next generation better than we were, she said. Trying to teach them that winning isn't everything. That there are real people behind every case number. Think it's working? She laughed. Tired but hopeful. Some of them maybe. That's all you can ask for, right? Some of them. Before she left, she touched my arm. "I'm glad you made it through, Nathan. I really am. I know it wasn't. I know it was hard. It was. But you made it." "Yeah," I said. "I made it." And I believed her. I still think about Owen sometimes. Wonder if he's sleeping better now. Wonder if he told Claire what he did, or if he's still carrying it alone. Wonder if Ethan ever noticed his father coming undone and then slowly stitching himself back together. I wonder if he thinks about me. If my face still appears in his thoughts sometimes. Unbidden and unwelcome. I hope it does. Not because I want him to suffer forever, but because I want him to remember. To carry that weight. To understand that choices have consequences that don't disappear just because you close the file and move on to the next case. Some sentences don't end when the judge's gavel falls. They end when everyone involved finally learns to live with what happened. And maybe that's where we both are now. Living with it. Him with the knowledge of what he did. Me with the knowledge of what was done to me. Both of us trying to be better than the worst thing that ever happened to us. If this story made you think twice about justice, about consequence, about what we owe each other, consider sharing it. Maybe someone needs to hear it. Maybe someone needs to know they're not alone in feeling like the system failed them. Remember, revenge doesn't give you back what you lost. It doesn't return the years. Doesn't bring back the people who died while you were gone. Doesn't make you whole again. It just gives you a different kind of weight to carry. This was Revenge Chronicles, where the ink of a prosecutor's pen becomes the iron of a cell door. Where a missing report is a life stolen. Where justice is a debt that never stops accruing interest. But in the end, you have to decide. Do you want to spend your life counting what you lost? Or do you want to finally walk out of the shadow of the man who took it? Because the heaviest thing a free man can carry is the man he used to be.